of course, Elizabeth Warren is a stupid fucking idiot. The California fires are going off, and everyone's making it political, including liberal Elizabeth Warren. Unimaginable loss. We must do more to protect communities and stop the climate crisis. These people think they can stop the climate crisis. Well, guess what? Guess what? Libtard. Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass cut fire budget by nearly $20 million. They also gave millions of extra firefighting supplies to Ukraine. So you agree there's a climate crisis, and you know how the fires have been starting, and you know there's been a drought in California, and your solution is to cut the fire budget. And you also made claims that you weren't going to hire white people to be firemen. Firefighting is mostly white males. A California program aims to change that. Los Angeles refused to hire white men as firefighters and environmentalists. Policies made possible for dry wood and other natural elements accumulate. This happened because of your ideology. This happened because of you guys' stupid fucking policies. And you're talking about the climate crisis when you could have done... You didn't even do the things to try to save yourself. Like, you just chalk it up to, it's climate crisis. Well, then if there's a climate crisis, you should have more firefighters, more water, and more emergency stuff in place. And you didn't. And you don't. You have less. Because you're fucking stupid. And we're not going to do the thing where people say, don't talk about this, don't politicize a tragedy. No, this tragedy happened because of politics. That's why people are politicizing it. Yet they're trying to say it's climate crisis. But it's like, okay, yeah, maybe that is part of it. Probably could be part of it. But the problem is you don't even believe in climate crisis, because if you did, you would do things to you'd have the biggest fire department in the country. You'd be like, oh my God, we know what's coming. We're gonna figure out a way to get as much water here and as much firefighter power we can get, and we would have all these things in place. And they don't, because, well, you must not really believe it, or you want people to die. I don't know which one it is. You're stupid? I don't know.
LA because of the fires, the effects of which you can see right above me. Upon reflecting, I remembered a conversation that Joe Rogan had with Donald Trump before the election about the state of wildfire management in California.
Oh, yeah, we all know about it. It's ridiculous.
Unbelievably expensive. And
let's see what Trump says.
This is our policy around
water.
Right.
And it's unbelievably expensive. And they're actually thinking about rationing water. Can you believe it? I was in the farm court country with some of the congressmen. We're driving up a highway. And I say, how come all this land is so barren? It's farmland, and it looked terrible. It was just brown and bad. I said, but there's always that little corner that's so green and beautiful. They said, we have no water. I said, do you have a drought? No, we don't have a drought. I said, why don't you have no water? Because the water isn't allowed to flow down. It's got a natural flow from Canada all the way up north of water, more water than they could ever use. And in order to protect a tiny little fish, the water up north gets routed into the Pacific Ocean. I could have water for all of that land, water for your forests. You know, your forests are dry as a bone.
Yeah.
Okay?
Dangerous.
That water could be routed. You know, you could have everything. Oh, not only dangerous, billions of dollars a year they spend on forest fires.
Now, let's look at specifically.
Assuming that that's correct and you could really do that, then at least he's talking about actually doing something, as opposed to cutting the budget and getting rid of more water. Just like they want to get rid of all the plastic stuff, all the plastic bags. But here, drink out of a straw that gives you cancer. But we're going to get rid of the plastic straws and the plastic bags. But then all the food in the entire grocery store wrapped in plastic.
What Trump was referring to here. In 2023, California implemented what's called the Fall X2 policy. This is a policy that's designed to redirect water away from areas that endanger a specific species of fish.
Oh my Christ. See, these people put the animals above you, they put everything above you, and stupid shit happens because of that. But then they go, climate crisis! Ah!
Called the Delta Smelt. Proponents of this policy argue that the Delta Smelt are important to indigenous populations, as well as important for the
we can't even hear him because he's in the middle of a windy crisis right now.
overall health of certain other endangered species.
I have friends I still haven't heard from out there. Like, I'm still concerned about many friends that are in California right now. Like, I'm pissed. Like, I'm not gonna be quiet about this. These people are stupid.
In that area of water into the Pacific Ocean. That's water that could have been used for firefighting or watering farmlands.
Or anything. You could truck the water. You could drain the water, collect the water, truck it around, store the water in water beacons in different areas that you could release during something like this. You could literally truck that water into gigantic, huge 100 gallons of whatever tanks and oh shit, I just knocked my water all over the table. And you could put it in strategic places, knowing where fires could be happening or things could be susceptible, and set it up sort of like a sprinkler system or something, right? I mean, I don't know these things, but at least I'm thinking about trying things. They're not. They're thinking about, you know what, just dump it out in the ocean. Who cares? I mean, if you know climate change is happening, then wouldn't you do that? Or like, why wouldn't you do that? Why? If you know climate change is coming, the ocean's gonna take over certain areas, and fires could wipe out entire areas from drought, then why would you buy a house on the ocean? And then why would you do everything you could to keep the water from the people, and to purposely allow fires to start in the woods by not putting more money into cleaning the debris in the forest? Why would you cut the budget to that? Why would you cut to the budget to water? Why would you cut to the budget to that? Why would you cut the budget to the fire department? Explain that. See, you can't. Don't tell me a goddamn thing. Don't tell me a goddamn thing about climate change or anything else until you actually show you want to do something about it. The something they want to do is destroy all of our lives even more in the name of climate change. Just like they've destroyed all this stuff in the name of fuckery the fish.
Based policies while we're dumping $200 million worth of water into the ocean to protect a relatively niche species. Now that's how we've been wasting our water.
Move the species.
But what about our forests?
And you know, there's a case with the environment. They're not allowed to rake their forests because you're not allowed to touch it. When a tree falls down, after 18 months, it becomes very dry. It's like, like real fire.
They're not allowed to touch it because they want it to burn, or they're stupid. Which one is it? It's either they're dumb as hell or they literally want you dead. They want you dead or they're dumb as hell. Which one is it?
What it's bad. But
We've been saying this for years until this has happened, but we've been saying this for years. So if we knew this for years, they don't know it, or they do know it and they don't care. I find it hard to believe that we all know this for years, and I'm a moron and I know this.
When a tree is up, it sucks water.
This moron knows it.
It's wet. I went to they had a couple of horrible forest fires in California, and I said, you had a lot of trees standing. Yes, they were healthy trees, sir. I said, with this intense heat, that you could see they were charred a little bit on the bottom, but they were going to be all right because they're soaking wet because they suck up the water, right? But when they fall...
Imagine that. Donald Trump knows how trees work, kind of.
Right.
They're like, it's like lighting a match.
Yeah.
And you got to be able to clean. They call it maintain your forest. So I was with the head of Austria. He said, it's a shame. I see all those forest fires in California, and all they have to do is clean their forest, meaning rake it up, get rid of the leaves, get rid of, leaves that are sitting there for 5 years. And
we'll certainly get rid of the deadfall.
And get rid of the trees that are falling.
I think that's the real issue.
Environmentally, they don't want to do that. They said, it's got to be nature and all this stuff.
Is there some truth to Trump's claim? It turns out yes. A 2024 study found that approximately 91.4 million dead trees were spread over 27.8 million hectares of land in California. Many people in the environmental lobby will argue that we need to preserve this deadwood actually because it contributes to the natural habitat that many endangered species rely upon. But here's an example of where trying to do good actually ends up doing bad. For approximately 10 years, there was an environmental lobby that opposed clearing deadwood in the Klamath National Forest because they were trying to protect the natural habitat of spotted owls and endangered species. It's caused a multi-year legal battle that ironically resolved itself when the Klamath National Forest ended up actually burning down because of the deadwood that they were trying to use to protect the spotted owl population. the natural habitat of spotted owls and endangered species. It's caused a multi-year legal battle that ironically resolved itself when the Klamath National Forest ended up actually burning down because of the deadwood that they were trying to use to protect the spotted owl population. These kinds of misguided attempts to protect the environment in California not only keep on ruining the environment, it's ruining human lives. And here's my personal frustration. California has the best land and the worst government in the United States.
Fact. The worst government. Do not bring this retardedness to Massachusetts. We've already got a lot of it with stupid Susan Warren and Elizabeth Warren, whatever the hell her name is, which I just showed you a few minutes ago. And we could just go on and on and on about these people misguided bullshit. They're rich people who are morons. Let everybody into the country. Unless the illegal people come to Massachusetts, Martha's Vineyard, then kick them off Martha's Vineyard. Because we don't want them here. We want them in your neighborhoods. It's just despicable, disgusting, and they hate you. They hate me. They hate anybody who's a peasant like us, and they don't give a damn. They just don't care.
Do you owe citizens an apology for being absent while their homes were burning? Do you regret cutting the fire department budget by millions of dollars, Madam Mayor? Have you nothing to say today? Have you absolutely nothing
Real questions.
to say to the citizens
At least an Irish guy had real questions for her.
today? Elon Musk says that you're utterly incompetent. Are you considering your position? Madam Mayor, have you absolutely nothing to say to the citizens today who are dealing with this disaster?
No, she's probably thinking, you know what? I don't talk to white people. And I think I need to cut the budget by another $20 million. There's a climate crisis. It's a crisis, guys. It's a climate crisis. What should we do? Well, I think I'll cut the budget. That's what I'll do. Because I'm a smart person. And you know what? There's too many white people that are firefighters. We hate those people. America.